Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we host the most controversial conversations, the most engaging debates, the most interesting topics going on in the world today. And tonight is absolutely no different. I'm so excited to be here with you all. Working on a little audio problem. So if you have a problem hearing me, send me a note. I think we got it straight now, though, so don't even worry about it. But hopefully it's all worked out. Anyway, we got a lot to cover tonight. We're gonna cover a few stories in depth and with some care. The world's on fire. It's still on fire. I say that every day. Y'all say, yeah, I do. You know why I say it every day? Because the world is on fire every day, and we have a duty here. First thing I need to do is be an alarm and let y'all know that the world is on fire. I need to draw attention to the fact that the world is on fire. Then we gotta be firemen. Gotta put the fire out. We gotta be fire people, firemen and women. We gotta put the fire out. We gotta create some healing here. We gotta create some wholeness, some restorative processes. We gotta make things better than we found them. But first, it comes with awareness, and that's what Night School is all about. We don't do what cable news shows do. We don't just report. We don't play to the cheap seats. We don't offer superficial drive-by analysis. That's not what we do. We're not cable news. We're not a podcast either. We do more. We go deeper. That's what we talk about. So anyway, it's good to see y'all, man. It's good to see y'all. It's good to be here. I see people out there like Ifio Lou. Shout out to you, who's a member of the channel. Angela Rochelle, I see you. Richard Austin, I see you. Ed Ladawi, I see you. Long time no see. So many people, so many things to talk about. Let's get to all of it, all of them. We're going to start with this story that nobody should be surprised about, but you should still be disturbed about it. President Donald Trump is calling on Republicans to nationalize voting in future elections. In an interview airing Monday, Trump told FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino that Republicans should, quote, take over the voting in at least 15 places. Trump repeated claims that he won states where officials determined that he lost them, calling, of course, those states crooked. The comments came a week after the FBI searched an elections office in Fulton County, Georgia. Now, that search is related to a Justice Department effort to seize election records and search for alleged fraud in the county. Georgia has been at the center of Donald Trump's claims, baseless claims, I might add, that the 2020 election was stolen from him. The county is now saying that the warrant involved was illegal, and as a result, they are suing. The county wants the FBI to return the ballots and protect voter information. Commissioner says the FBI had the right to copy the ballots based on an earlier order, but he says they did not have permission to remove the documents. We have an alarm at the gate. We have a hello. I don't know what just happened, y'all, but I'm switching to a different microphone because maybe the government is I don't know. maybe we getting tapped. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the government is on our ass right now. Anyway, what I was saying was that I'm not one of those people that romanticizes American democracy. I'm not one of those people that walks around saying, oh my God, we have a perfect democracy now, Trump is ruining it. No, this country, the system, these elections, they've always been troublesome. They've always been problematic. They've always been unfair and anti-democratic at a certain level. But what we're seeing here is something else. We're seeing a more blatant and frankly brazen attempt to destabilize the fragile democracy, the provisionally democratic experiment that is here. Let me be specific. Donald Trump saying that the Georgia county or the Georgia state offices were fraudulent in their election reporting in 2020 is part of a long con. Donald Trump, because of his extraordinary ego, narcissism, and probably mental instability, has determined that he had the 2020 election stolen from him because there's no way he could have just lost. So because of that, he is now has a solution in search of a problem. He's saying we're going to go around and create nationalized elections. We're going to go and create these offices, these mechanisms, these barriers, whatever you want to call them. He's creating things to prevent fraud that never happened. But it's not just that, right? It's not just that he's misguided and arrogant or confused or conflicted. Nah. Don't let Donald Trump off the hook here. There's something else happening. There's something else afoot. Donald Trump is preparing and installing an infrastructure that will make it easier for him and his cronies to actually steal the elections, to steal the very elections that he says he's protecting. That sanctity that he's trying to preserve, he's the one actually tarnishing it. So the fact that he's raiding offices in Georgia, violating the law, contradiction. The fact that he's saying elections should be nationalized when he's the one and his Republican cronies who have been promoting states' rights when it's been convenient, contradiction. Please understand. Please understand that what Donald Trump is doing is not accidental, it's not coincidental, and it's not harmless. It's not even minor. This is the big deal. And this statement, this claim that elections need to be nationalized, this statement that Republicans should take over voting in at least 15 places is setting the stage and laying down the seeds for something very, 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 very dangerous. Welcome back to Night School. We're having an incredibly interesting and honestly difficult conversation about the state of American democracy and how fragile it is, how disturbed it is, and how disturbing it is. I still can't figure out this audio thing, but we're going to figure that out. Somebody said I'm on Windows 11. I love y'all, man. Y'all be having the jokes. Anyway, another story that's big, and it actually also speaks to the fragility of our democracy in a different way, is the latest batch of Epstein files. There are new revelations after the Department of Justice released more than 3 million pages of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump said that he didn't see the latest drop, but that he was told that it absolves him. Anyway, the newly released documents do contain a list compiled last year by the FBI of unproven allegations that Trump committed sexual assault, including one woman saying he raped her when she was just 13. That same woman sued Trump in 2016 over the claims, but later dropped the lawsuit. In another section, one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims says Ghislaine Maxwell presented her, that's a quote, presented her to Trump at a party. When asked about this, the White House points to a Justice Department statement that the files may include, quote, fake or false submitted images, documents, or videos. Still, the files have put a number of high-profile people in an undesirable, uncomfortable, and ultimately unwanted spotlight. A series of photos appears to show former British Prince Andrew kneeling. How can I put it? I don't want to overstate it. You see Prince Andrew kneeling by a woman or girl on the door. Billionaire Elon Musk has previously said that he refused an invitation to Epstein's island. The documents suggest he wanted to be there for the wildest party. That's a quote. Now, after the release, Musk posted, he said, I have never been to any Epstein parties ever and have many times called for the prosecution of those who have committed crimes with Epstein. Now, Harry Lutnick, Trump's Secretary of Commerce, said that he and his wife decided to cut ties with Epstein 2 decades ago. Yet still, the documents point to at least a couple of attempts to socialize with Epstein after that. The Commerce Secretary, of course, had its own response to that. They said Secretary Lutnick had limited interactions with Mr. Epstein in the presence of his wife and has never been accused of wrongdoing. Now, another one-time Trump advisor, top Trump advisor, in fact, Steve Bannon, appears in the files, at times mocking the president. And the infamous names go on, though notably many show no links to any potential illegality. This is important to note, and we'll talk about this in a sec. Dinner invitations for Woody Allen, shocker, Martha Stewart, and Katie Couric, who said here, I know you're not a foodie, but the lasagna was rocking. Interesting. Justice Clarence Thomas, of course, I shouldn't say of course, Justice Clarence Thomas is named in the files in a complaint alleging that Thomas sexually assaulted a girl at a church in Massachusetts. Billionaire Richard Branson, New York Giants owner Steve Tisch are also mentioned, and so is Brett Ratner, seen in a photo on a sofa with Epstein and some young women. He's the director of that new Melania Trump film, in case you were wondering. The new release brought at least one fresh controversy as well. The New York Times raised the possibility that the Justice Department had released, quote, nearly 40 unredacted images showing both nude bodies and the faces of the people portrayed, noting the people in the photos appeared to be young. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the White House had no oversight in the review process of the files. And Bill Clinton's name popped up again in an alleged orgy that included Donald Trump. The Clintons have agreed to testify before a Republican-led oversight committee. This is getting nasty, y'all. And I don't mean freaky nasty. I mean nasty, like politically nasty. This is problematic. First thing, the names are going to continue to come out. Lots of powerful people, lots of rich and powerful people, lots of rich and powerful and politically connected people are coming out. That means that some harm is going to be happening as well. Powerful people don't go down easily. Somebody's going to die from this. People are going to lose their jobs from this. People are going to be blackmailed for this. People are going to be fired. You know, all the things are going to happen from this. So please just be prepared for that. The names we've seen are just a drop in the bucket, according to many sources. Many more people will be named. Many more people will be implicated. Some of the people who are being speculated upon will be confirmed later, or they won't. How do you find out, right? You just got to wait. But again, powerful people aren't just going to wait. This is going to get ugly. The relationship between Donald Trump and the Epstein files is still unclear to me. It's not clear to me whether he did something or whether he was just prepared to do something, whether he committed a crime or whether he was adjacent to people committing crimes. I honestly don't know the answer. I don't want to assume that because Donald Trump is the worst person in the world right now, that means he did something here. Could have. If I had to bet my money, I'd say he did something strange with Epstein, but I don't know that. I can't prove that. But what I do know is there are a lot of people who are going to spend a lot of energy, time, money, resources, social capital, cultural capital, whatever, trying to prove that Trump is involved in this. So you're going to see Trump's Justice Department either burying truths or ducking and dodging or denying, not because he did something, but because it just looks bad, or he did it. Either way, you're going to see a lot of energy from the Justice Department. They're going to put the thumb on the scale in every way possible. One of the challenges of this particular scandal is that it's not just Republicans playing. It's not just Democrats playing. It's all of them. So you don't have one party trying to force the issue and the other one stopping the issue, because I think when you dig deep enough or you go high enough, however you think about it, you're going to find powerful leaders of both parties implicated in this. This is not about partisanship. When you get to these uber rich, almost exclusively, powerful white men, there comes a point where the party don't matter. Democrat, Republican is for us. That's for us peons at the bottom. They're playing at different levels. They're playing different games. And when you get to Epstein Island, this is not about political partisanship. That means that you're going to find Clintons and Trumps in the mix of at least conversation. I'm not saying they did it. I'm saying they're at least in the mix of conversation. That means that a lot of people have a lot of interest in burying this. It also means that a lot of people are hung out to dry from this. So anyway, all that to say, it's not going to get good. It's not going to look good for most people. Elon Musk, I do think is completely innocent on this, and I don't like Elon Musk at all. But all indications seem to be that he wasn't there and didn't do anything. Did he want to be there? Maybe. Was he trying to be in the mix? Probably. I don't, at least the social mix. But he wasn't there. And after he and Donald Trump fell out, he made it very clear that he's got dirt on Donald Trump and that Donald Trump should be found guilty of something. I don't know what's true, but I do know that Elon Musk has the ability to at least put a spotlight on whatever happened or didn't happen. So it'll be interesting to see. Names like Woody Allen, Martha Stewart, Katie Couric, they're all in the mix. I don't want you all to assume that every single person who went or who had an interaction with Epstein did something untoward any more than we should assume that everyone who had an interaction with Diddy or went to a party with Diddy did something illegal or immoral or unethical or what have you. It's not necessarily the case. There are different levels of friendship. There are different levels of social connection. I'm not saying this to protect me or anybody else. I don't know Epstein. I don't know Diddy. Never hung out with either of them. So they ain't got to do with me. I'm just saying that, I don't want to assume that because Katie Couric liked the lasagna, that's code for something freaky. She might have just had lasagna with the guy. Same thing with, what's his name? He wrote Manufacturing Consent. Chomsky, Noam Chomsky. I don't know if Noam Chomsky was connected, but I don't know if he did anything. I also don't know that he did. And again, I don't know these people, but what we do know is that it's messy, and everybody who's somebody in that world is damn near connected. So we just got to keep watching it. But the people to watch the most are the Clintons, because the way they're responding, not kosher to me. I don't know. Something about the way they're responding has my antenna up. Again, I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm simply saying it don't look right. And that's all I can say. It just don't look right. Let's talk about the final story here. We brought him up, so we might as well talk about him. Diddy. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs are appealing his conviction and sentence. They have a court date scheduled for April 9th when they will argue for the release of the music mogul. Federal jury in New York City convicted Diddy last July on 2 counts of transporting people across state lines to engage in prostitution. The jury found him not guilty of more serious sex trafficking charges. The judge ordered Combs to serve more than 4 years in prison. Now, Diddy's lawyers have argued their client's conviction should be overturned because he was engaged in voyeurism, not prostitution. They claim Diddy watched his girlfriends have sex with other men. He's currently serving his sentence at a prison in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and he's scheduled for release in May of 2028. Look, if I were Diddy and I had money and resources and a chance, I'd appeal too. Prisons are filled with jailhouse lawyers who are always trying to break down cases and figure out ways to appeal. There's absolutely nothing wrong with people using their legal rights to pursue an appeal. But I don't think this one's going to work. Forget for a second whether it's right or wrong. Forget for a moment about whether I agree or not, whether you agree or not. That's not the point just yet. There's a bigger point at play here, which is Diddy ducked and avoided a lot of big charges. A lot of big charges. He could have been looking at damn near life in prison, and instead he got a few years. Was the system fair? Did it honor the spirit of the system? Maybe not. I think Diddy was probably misconvicted. Diddy's broken lots of laws. He's done lots of awful shit. But the thing that he was actually charged with may be debatable. The sentence may have been excessive for that thing. But I think for most people who saw the Cassie video, for most people who heard the details of the trial, they feel like overall Diddy needed to be held accountable for the harm that he caused, and that this was reasonable. I'm not saying that that's fair or not. Take our own opinions off the table. My point, my only point, or at least my primary point, is that as a practical matter, juries didn't want to send him home. Judges don't want to send him home. Appeals courts don't want to send him home. So whether you think it's right or not, I think that stacks against Diddy. Second piece here is the actual facts of the case. He's saying that it wasn't prostitution because he was watching the sex. I'll defer to legal experts out there, but that doesn't seem like a viable argument to me. Someone asked, why did the Fed miss the mark for this Diddy case? Why did they go for the low hanging fruit? I think the Fed's overcharged. I think that they had blood in their blood. They saw blood in the water. They had big eyes, and they tried to make a big case out of it, and they overplayed their hand, and they lost. And I think it was a winnable case that they bungled. I say the same thing about Young Thug. I think the state screwed up. This happens a lot. You know, people tend to think that the federal prosecutors are unbeatable because of their 99+% conviction rate. But so much of that, as I wrote about in my book, Nobody, is about what? Plea bargains. They take people. Most people can't afford to fight the state. The state has their case organized. They build a case. It looks impenetrable, and then you plead out. But when people got money and they start fighting, the Don Kings of the world, the Diddies of the world, the Young Thugs of the world, just start looking different. The feds aren't so unbeatable. So, we'll see what happens. But I think Diddy has already gotten the best situation possible under the circumstances. And I think, look, again, fight all you want, whoever you are in prison. Fight all you want. If it's within your legal right as a prisoner, do it. But I think Diddy's going to end up riding out these 2 years. And 2 years ain't so bad. 2 years ain't so bad, given that he was looking at like 200. I'm not literally, but you get my point. Anyway, y'all, that's it for tonight. I want to thank you all for watching Night School. I also want to encourage everybody to head over to Patreon. I have a Patreon channel that we ask that you support. You can click this QR code right there, up there, at the top right of the screen, and it'll take you over there. Or you can go to patreon.com/Marc Lamont Hill official, and you can join. You can see me over there. We can have conversation. You can check out the podcast in this thing together that I have with my wife. You can check out Office Hours, which is exclusive intellectual deep dives with the nation's most interesting, creative, or controversial thinkers. You can go look. You can go look at past content. You can look at my commentaries, etc. We get early content, extra content, and extended content. And on top of that, you get to support independent grassroots journalism. So please, if you haven't yet, sign up for the Patreon, and I will see you soon.